Here.
Let's do it.
It's Latin for many. Stick. Now suck your blood. Now suck
Politics.
your blood.
Trump's brazen request to Putin, Gonz.
Yes, CNN.
Brazen.
CNN bringing the report.
This is floating around. I meant to bring this to last episode, but we had a timing issue. So if you can, why don't you just play the clip? We'll take
President
it from there.
Trump, he still has rallies. He still says things. Some of them are out there.
Still says things.
He still says things.
He says things. Can you believe it?
Things.
We don't always give them oxygen. But he said something that I think we really do have to pay
Yes, you
attention
do.
to. At this point in time, Russia is in the middle of an unprovoked war against Ukraine, and the former president said this.
Not unprovoked.
Why did the mayor of Moscow's wife give the Bidens, both of them, $3.5 million? That's a lot of money. She gave him $3.5 million. So now I would think Putin would know the answer to that. I think he should release it. I think we should know that answer.
He's calling on Putin to release the dirt, which is something he's done before in the past.
Right.
At this point in time, John.
Brianna, Donald Trump is mentally unwell in a way that makes him interested exclusively in what benefits him. Distinctions
like every
between
politician?
Including
He's
news
mentally
agencies.
unwell, Gonz. He's unwell because he's interested in what benefits him.
in what benefits him. Distinctions between true, false, right, wrong, America's friends, America's enemies are irrelevant to Donald Trump.
Replace the word Donald Trump with CNN, and it's more accurate there. But
Exactly.
continue here.
Russia has helped him financially and politically over the years.
Wasn't the
like Hunter Biden,
like the Bidens,
like exactly what he's talking about?
Wow, this is I mean, if you're watching this and you don't see that, you must. There's no hope. There's really no hope.
He literally just pulls like a. No, you are. No, you get money from Russia.
Oh man!
And he has aligned himself with Vladimir Putin. This is significant not just because he was president, but he's the leader of one of America's two political parties. He might be president again.
No, he's not.
And
he's not the leader of the Republican
The
Party.
leader of the Republican Party, but you know what? He is though. He is. We're only talking about the context of the presidency.
They want him to be. He's only the leader because CNN makes it so.
Makes it, yeah.
Really.
this is a moment of moral clarity when Vladimir Putin is slaughtering thousands of people in Ukraine for Republicans who do care about the difference between right, wrong, true, false, America's friends and America's enemies, to reflect on whether this is the person they want to attach their party to. Again, there is no evidence that Vice President Biden or President Biden has done anything wrong, but we know that Donald Trump.
Vice President Biden, a little slip up there.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's the thing too. He's talking about Joe Biden. There's no evidence that Joe Biden has done anything wrong. But Joe Biden is not the concern and not even what Trump was talking about. Trump was talking about Hunter Biden, but CNN, being sort of Democrats' party, propaganda outlet / Biden defender, et cetera, he's very tricky. That's a very tricky little thing where he goes, no. Trump is the Russia guy. That's the Russia guy. Joe Biden, there's no evidence to Joe Biden doing anything wrong. Even though that, that is its own. That's its own sort of felonious comment.
Gosh.
But Trump was talking about Hunter. Wasn't even talking about Joe. So keep it going.
There is no evidence that Vice President Biden or President Biden has done anything wrong. But we know that Donald Trump has aligned himself for years with Vladimir Putin, and Vladimir Putin is the butcher
in this
war that's going on right now.
He's the butcher of the
nice
war.
Vague thing.
Yeah, vague.
He's aligned himself with Putin. What exactly does aligned himself with Putin mean? It doesn't mean anything. You know. So, anyways, it's obvious and it's brazen. I mean, talk about brazen request to Putin by Trump. It's a brazen assumption that any sort of cognitively capable human being would watch this and think that CNN has anything important to say. But, Gonz, that won't stop our good friend Chris Shillzilla.
Shill for sure.
I was going to say I need some deeper analysis. And
here you go. We're getting into
Shillzilla
it.
comes through with the deeper analysis.
That's
Which
right.
Analysis. We know he's well equipped with all kinds of information.
I guess you could say I'm something of an expert on UFOs.
So remember,
and not just UFOs, which we'll know later. Yes, analysis. Why you can't just ignore this statement from Donald Trump. You can't do it, Gonz. There's long been a tendency to roll your eyes whenever Donald Trump breaks a rule of politics. After all, he spent 4 years doing it as president. Breaks the rules. He broke the rules of politics. Yeah, exactly.
The unspoken rules.
Not breaks the law, not breaking the norms. He's breaking the rules of politics, man. Play the game, Trump. After all, he spent 4 years doing it as president, and democracy is mostly still standing. And he's not in office anymore, so what he says on any given subject less important than it was 2 years ago. That attitude, I should note, is totally understandable as a mental health coping tactic. It's also deeply misguided.
Whoa.
Whoa. Yeah. I love it. Because it's understandable if you're coping with your mental health that you just ignore Trump. Okay, wow, what an understanding thing to say. But you're misguided. You're crazy. Wow. Trump remains the single most powerful figure in the Republican Party and is widely seen as a heavy favorite for the blah, blah, blah. All of which brings me to something Trump said in an interview with the conservative TV show Just the News, published Tuesday. Quote, I would think Russian President Vladimir Putin would know the answer to that, Trump said, while pushing an unproven claim about Hunter Biden's business dealings in Russia. I think he should release it. I think we should know this answer. Which, just in case you missed it, amounts to this. Trump is openly asking an adversarial world power to help him dig up dirt on the son of the current president of the United States. So I will give Chris this. At least he did not try to pull a bait and switch and say that it was about Joe.
Right.
He focused it on Hunter, which at least has – that's probably the most amount of journalistic integrity I've ever seen Chris Shillzilla.
Spoke the word Hunter?
And yet, yeah, exactly, that he even mentioned the word Hunter Biden. And yet, you'll notice he cuts out the first half of Trump's quote.
I noticed that. That was really weird. Like he
does not include the quote to say the wife of the mayor of Moscow gave Hunter Biden $3 million. He excludes that little detail, which is a pretty important aspect of the thing, and just goes right into the, I would think Russian President Vladimir Putin would know the answer to that as the quote.
Because Putin bad. It's really leaning into Putin bad. He wanted to lead with that. Yeah.
Putin bad, and it doesn't matter what Trump said Hunter did. That's not important.
But Trump
you just know that he asked Putin for something.
Yeah. That is a nice sly move there, Shillzilla.
Yeah.
Go on.
And then he says this, of course, isn't the first time that Trump has asked Russia for help digging dirt on his political opponents. Then he goes into the 2016 Trump asking Putin about the emails, which, of course, the emails turned out to be just as bad as we were told.
Well, Shillzilla has to toe that line to be at CNN. He's got to keep perpetuating that lie there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's just doing what he's got to do.
He's doing his job, trying to keep his job.
Now imagine just for a minute. I like
that's
that.
right. Now imagine just for a minute if any, in italics, if any other politician did anything remotely like this, asking on more than one occasion for an adversary to help find damaging information about a political opponent. And let's not forget this important context. We know Russia actively meddled in the 2016 election to help Trump and hurt Clinton. What? The classic lie. It's the Russiagate lie. He's still holding on to it. He can't let go of it. And there's definitely been Democratic politicians who have alluded to Putin releasing the P-tape. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, there have been other politicians, Democrat politicians, asking Putin for the P-tape. So, again, another felonious.
Plus, anytime, a lot of times when Trump does this whole thing, we're like, oh, yes, Putin, ask Putin.
Yeah.
It's in the context of, I know, like Trump saying, I know what happened. Why don't you have these other people, so it's never like
somebody else.
It's not coming from a place of, oh, I'm desperate, I need something to, but that's how they paint it every single time,
Yep. And I'll just read one more little sentence here. But Trump has so moved the goalposts of acceptable conduct as it relates to what he says and does that the chances of his appeal to Russia to find dirt on Hunter Biden barely makes a ripple in the political world.
He just keeps saying, find dirt on Hunter Biden. You omitted the part where he actually says
he gives the actual thing.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, I want to do a deeper dive on all the stuff going on with Hunter Biden. It has been reported and confirmed in the New York Times, in the Washington Post, in all of the corrupt corporate news outlets who spent hours and hours of screen time talking about how the Hunter Biden laptop is Russian propaganda and not true and all this stuff.
It's not verified. That was the big thing. Not verified.
It has now been widely reported by Washington Post, the Times, all of the major corporate news outlets that it has been verified. The Hunter Biden laptop is authentic, and they're doing it quietly. They're doing it sparsely, but they are doing it, and not a single apology for just straight up lying to. Not just straight up lying, but lying in order to manipulate an election. You have and it's not like, of course they do it. Of course they've been doing it forever. But we caught you. We caught you manipulating and lying to the public specifically to sway an election. And so, there you go. That's your mainstream corporate news, folks.
Well, it's hilarious because it's, there's all this talk about the ballot machines and, cheating there and cheating other ways. But really the biggest sort of cheat, so to speak, was the most public thing you can do, which is, the New York Post published a story about something that's not politically favorable for one party. Let's align ourselves, all these news outlets and social media platforms, to just deny it, eliminate that story as much as possible, discredit it as much as possible,
control reality,
and control the narrative so that our candidate ends up winning. So the manipulation, the cheating really happened in the faces of everybody. While most people were, arguing about quantum computing ledgers and watermarks and stuff, or whatever it may be. Yeah,
which is very helpful for them.
Right. Yeah, it is.
While we're on the Shillzilla train, I popped another link in there if you want to open that up.
Okay.
This one got me good. This was Chris Shillzilla, March 29th headline. Donald Trump told the world about his hole-in-one in the Trumpiest way possible.
Oh, that's right. Claims he got a hole-in-one.
Yeah. So this is about Trump's hole-in-one, which Chris, of course, being the serious reporter and journalist that he is, had to obsess over Trump's hole-in-one claim. Over the weekend.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Shillzilla published this at 10:01 a.m. 1001.
1001.
He's signaling to us.
Oh, he's talking to us.
He's talking to us through publishing times.
Chris,
right? You can set you. You can set that.
Yeah. 1001. Amen.
Yeah, Chris, we see you, buddy. We see you. I know you're listening.
Called it out.
Oh, I hope this doesn't hurt your feelings too much. Over the weekend, a photo of Donald Trump after he purportedly shot a hole-in-one circulated around the internet. On Monday night, the former president put those rumors to rest in the most Trumpy way possible.
Trumpy, huh?
Quote, many people are asking, so I'll give it to you now. It is 100% true, Trump said in a statement released by his office. But he was far from done. In fact, he was just getting started. Quote, it took place at Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach, Florida, on the 7th hole, which was playing 181 yards into the slight wind, he added. I hit a 5-iron, which sailed magnificently into a rather strong wind with approximately 5 feet of cut, whereupon it bounced twice and went clank into the hole. 5 feet of cut, sailed magnificently, whereupon really feels like you were there, right? As though you can feel the rather strong wind and hear the clank of the ball going into the hole. But Trump wasn't done, not by a long shot. Oh, the humanity, Chris. Oh, please tell me more of the sins of Trump.
Oh, man.
After noting that he had been playing with several professional golfers, including Ernie Els, Trump said this about his shot. These great tour players noticed it before I did. Their eyes were all slightly better, but on that one hole only, their swings weren't. Amazing! And yet he still wasn't done. Oh, can you believe the egregiousness that Trump is bringing? The match was Ernie and me, with no strokes, against Gene Sowers, Mike Goods, and Ken Duke, Trump continued. I won't tell you who won because I am a very modest individual, and you will then say I was bragging. I don't like people who brag. Humble, thy name is Donald Trump. I guess we'll never know who won that match, Chris says. Take a step back. Okay, here comes the analysis, Gonz. Take a step back, Gonz. Take a step back. Trump is, by all accounts, a good golfer. Huh.
Whoa, wow, throwing him a bone.
Yeah, he's giving Trump a compliment.
He knows, ultimately he wants to go golfing with Donald Trump. That's Shillzilla's goal.
Love it.
Yeah.
And speaking of, okay, there's more. I've talked to a number of people for a book I'm writing on presidents and sports.
Ah, there you go.
There it is. Chris is using Trump's hole-in-one for personal promotion of his book on presidents and sports, all of whom confirm that the former president likely has a single-digit handicap. And with this very sentence, Gonz, we are revealed a deep, dark secret, the one that we already know, but the deep, dark secret that CNN loves Trump. Chris Shillzilla loves Trump. He is the best thing that has ever happened to them. And have you ever heard of Chris Shillzilla's book about presidents and sports before Trump's hole-in-one?
No, I'm informed now.
Of course not. Of course, nobody had heard of it because nobody cares what Chris Shillzilla does, especially when it comes to presidents and sports. But no, because of Trump's hole-in-one, Chris gets to personally profit and build his personal brand. Quote, he wants everyone to know he is a better golfer than he is, said Don Van Natta, author of First Off the Tee, A History of Presidents in Golf. Oh, so Chris Shillzilla, you're just basically writing a book that's already been written? Okay, cool. Quote, he is a much better golfer than people know.
No, sports. But he's sports. Not golf, sure. Sports.
Okay, so he's broadening the concept of a book that already exists. Quote, he's a much better golfer than people know, but he's not as good as he says he is. I mean, that's like the thing with golfers, right? Every golfer claims to be a better golfer than they are. That's the whole thing. That's like the whole thing, especially, you get the guys together. You all talk about how great at golf you are. It's the whole thing. But no, in this case, talking about being a better golfer than you are, is so Trumpy, is the Trumpiest thing about him. Which should surprise exactly no one who is familiar with Trump. His entire persona, okay, pull out again, Gonz. His entire persona is premised on truthful hyperbole, an idea he outlined in his seminal book, The Art of the Deal. So now we have a book club with Bill Gates, and we have a book club with Chris Shillzilla.
Chris Shillzilla must have poured over those pages and be very familiar with The Art of the Deal.
He poured
must
over
be pulling one of his tactics.
The tomes, the ancient tomes written by Trump himself to pull out character defects to apply to his golf game. Quote, I play to people's fantasies, Trump wrote. Quote, people may not always think big themselves, but they can still get very excited by those who do. That's why a little hyperbole never hurts. People want to believe that something is the biggest and the greatest and the most spectacular. I call it truthful hyperbole. It's an innocent form of exaggeration and a very effective form of promotion. And Chris ends the article with, yes, it is.
He's trying to deploy his own.
You know,
his
I
own
love
truthful hyperbole, which is the funniest thing about it.
That's what I'm saying. It's as if Chris is trying to convince us that Trump invented exaggerating. Like this idea that there's just some innocent hyperbole. You play up the truth just a little bit. Trump invented that and has infected the rest of the world and golfers with the idea that it's okay to exaggerate sometimes. Chris Shillzilla of CNN. Are you just learning about this idea of hyperbole? Because I'm pretty sure in the article we just read with you talking about Trump and his statement that can't be ignored, your entire career is built on hyperbole, Chris. And that's what I love about you, buddy. I know you're just trying to keep your job, but the way in which you write says so much more than I could ever say about you and your sort of playpen of a news corporation, CNN.
We're rooting for you, Chris.
A shill for sure.
Did you see he was on the set of CNN Plus, which dropped?
Saw that.
Forgot to talk about that.
Yeah.
And so Chris is
CW sideways XRP symbol.
That is listeners of the podcast and not viewers of the video. That was a really good joke. Just take it from me. Gonz nailed it. You got to look at the picture to understand.